Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Geek Podcast. Today we got John back. Hold on, I made something special for you, John. Real quick.
Okay.
You're the only one that gets the theme music. If you notice, Ernest is looking at me because I've never given him theme music. He's asked for it, have not given it to him. So you're the first person that gets theme music, John.
That's awesome. I like your little chibi characters on the bottom too. That was
Oh,
cool.
yeah. So a long time ago, we did these characters, right? And it was on one of those like random applications you could download, and you could create little figures. And so we created them, and from there, like everybody just fell in love with them. So we just kept using them. And I never thought, hey, this is the we're gonna use these for forever, right? It was just like, oh, I'm bored. Let's use these, and then next, we're
They
still
come
we're still
up
using them.
That's awesome.
like tech support.
Oh, yes, yes, tech
Well,
support.
let's not get into that.
It's it's a ongoing joke between us. When we were at Icy Stars, which was a tech boot camp, it's from 8 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, and you're just we can't kind of went in with no background in coding, so you have to learn how to code, and then we had to code a video game for a financial institution.
You can
So
talk
it
about
was
it. We're well past the NDA.
oh, we're past the NDA. All right, cool. So
Well
for
past
we were
the NDA.
w- so we were working with CIBC Bank, right? We were creating a video game for their financial institution for their uh, financial literacy that they I guess they roll out to schools or something. So they came out to us and like we need a game. So we're like, cool. We're working on it. Again, we didn't know coding, so long hours, lots of coffee, which I'm sure, John, with as many books as you put out, you've been there. So I got a little delusional, right? And I was like, so tired, but I was so energetic at the same time. So there was a puppet, right? Like it was like a pig. So I picked up the pig and I put headphones on it and like I put it in front of the laptop. And everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "My computer's not working." So I called tech support. And from there, everybody was again, everybody was extremely tired. When you're tired, everything is funnier or everything
Yeah.
pisses you off even more, right? So we were all dying, and from there, I just kept doing nothing but like pick pun jokes and things like that. So, um, in our video game, we added tech support as the main character of our game, and from there, like when we showed it to CIBC, they're like, "Oh my god, that because so the pig came from them, right? Where it was like this was like one of their little mascots, so they were like, "It's our mascots on there." I'm like, "Well, it's a blue pig. It's not your mascot." Like I added headphones, I added a few other things to it. I had to create from scratch, right? Um, so I was like, "That's tech support." And from they fell in love with it. They were like, "We love it. We want this game. We know this and this." So that's where tech
That's
support
awesome.
came from. Once again, long nights, lots of coffee,
Yeah.
no
But it's
sleep.
just the sentiment of randomness that wasn't supposed to stick along for long and ended up turning into monumental or a very iconic thing that now outlive it will probably outlive us because we did end up
Well,
creating a
yeah.
game.
Yeah. So
Have you
for you,
played it?
John, I have not
Not
played the
the
official
version.
one, like or the one that was rolled out because they're rolling out to kids, and I'm not sure if it's on a website, like if it's web based or if it's local based where they take the machines to schools and have them play it there. I know the first game that they did was web based.
Yeah, it
I'm not
was
sure.
so it was localized and web based. The game that I finished with them was localized and web based, where they pretty much had their own CIBC site, and the kids they would go to the school, and the kids would have to log into their site to actually play the game. Now, if they
Okay.
updated it or changed it from that, I don't know, but I mean, it's still ours. That was still our
Yeah.
baby.
It was it was a fun yet weird time. Now, with that being said, John, has there ever been any moments of like, once again, tiredness, too much coffee, too much things, random stuff that came out that actually made it to one of the books that was not planned?
Yeah, most of Cinema Muerte is like that. Like it started. I was just like, "Ah, I don't know." Like Evil Dad meets Clerks was like the plan, but then like the gods and the way they showed up didn't plan it. I was just like, I need something different, and I was like, I'll start with like spiders because everyone hates spiders, and I'll figure it out as I go. Like it's just a placeholder. Then it became the real thing. And I got a comic I'm working on right now that's kind of like it's a girl who's a video editor and she's like overworked, super tired, and she starts to see like a version of Clippy. Do you guys remember that from like Word?
I remember Clippy. Yeah, yeah.
So he starts appearing in her editing and it's like an AI virus, but it's like an alien thing and it's helping her edit better. But the more she leans into the AI, the stronger it gets, and then it starts to appear in like real life. But it was definitely like from me editing weddings all last year, just like burned out, wishing I had like an intern or somebody to do this part for me. And just like, oh, how cool would it be if there's like a thing that could you just feed it the footage and it'll edit for you automatically. I was like, save me.
Mm,
And then I was like, "Oh, what if it, like, branched out from there?" And then because I write everything kinda horror-y, I was like it just spanned out, and I was like, "Okay, there's something here." So I'm working on that one still, but that one's gonna be a
ooh,
lot of fun. Yeah.
that I'm not gonna lie, that one sounds really fun. I love Clippy. I remember Clippy so, and for every time remember Clippy, I think of The Office. I don't know if you ever seen the episode where one of them was trying to write a resume and he didn't know how to use Microsoft Word. So he called the company. He's like, "Hey, I'm trying to find Clippy. I think that's his name."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, like, like he would ask, it looks like you're building a resume. Do you need this? And you could click on it and it'll build you the format." So like I remember that very like every single time I think of Clip It, I think of that. But Clip It was amazing.
Yeah.
A little annoying sometimes, right? Because he
Right.
would kind of intrude on a lot of stuff you were doing. But
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, it looks like you wanna add a hyperlink here." I was like, "No, it's a PDF document. They can't click on it." Especially back in, like, the '90s, I was like, "No, leave it alone."
oh man, Clippy. R.I.P. Clippy. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if he's ever coming back, but
I
again,
doubt it.
that's another tech support moment right there.
Yeah, I mean, instead of Clipper, we now have Siri. We now have Google Assistant. So
Yeah.
he,
We do. I mean, we have plenty of AI now, right? Like it's
yeah,
Yeah.
like I think every single source has their AI. Like I know Bing has an AI, which I'm surprised people use Bing.
Yeah.
If people use Bing, that's cool for you, right? But I'm surprised people use Bing, but they have their own AI. And AI is the big new thing, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
um, it's the future. I know at work,
yeah.
a few
I
years ago,
mean,
I
why do
joked
the
about
work
it,
when
right?
you can have somebody do it for you?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying people that I do this. I've heard people do this. I heard people they go to ChatGPT and they ask it, hey, can you write a code that does this and this? And then they just copy it and then just fix it up, make it look better, like make sure it runs because code you get from
ChatGPT is
ChatGPT does not
known to give
always
you
run.
code that's like
It
it
will
does
not
what you
run.
ask it to do, but it doesn't necessarily work efficiently.
It does. Yes, it is. It's there to help you get started, but from there you got to build
That's
up
it.
on it and clean it up. So yeah, but it does come in clutch, especially in those moments where you're like you procrastinated. Now you have
Oh.
to come up with something. So and it definitely helps to create tagging strategies, formal documents, and even documents that are going to regulators and financial institutions. ChatGPT is amazing, but
How would you know
there's
that if you
also
never used it for those
He's
I've
been
purposes?
told.
heard. Yeah, I've been told. I've heard. and I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
you
I've
know,
never.
your
Here I
friend,
am.
your friend is asking this, but it's not you.
Exactly. Like no, no. Like I would like like I sit down with a dictionary. Like what word could I use for cinnamon? Like that's how I work, right?
I gotta go to the
uh,
thesaurus real quick.
Yeah.
yes, there you go. But I know with AI as well, right? There's a lot of um, it's messing up a lot of things as well. Like one of them is art, right?
Yeah,
I know that we live in a moment where you could actually generate art using AI. You could generate music using AI, and you could generate almost writing stories using AI. So for you, John, from coming from a person who, yeah, you know what, like I like to write these. I like to write my stories. I want to create these universes and this and this. Uh, how do you feel about people using AI for as a shortcut s- to
you can
writing a
tell.
book or
Yeah,
art?
because anyone can tell a story, right? But like to get genuine emotion, you have to have like life experience into it. So, like my cousin, he's been playing with like Chat GPT lately, and like
Mhm.
he'll read me the stories that he generated from it. So I told him, I was like, all right, well, like read it out loud, and then you can tell because it'll say like, oh, the terrifying clown, like over and over again, and then like it won't give you character backstory. It'll just be like, oh, the scared mailman or like the terrified wife. I'm just like, so I was like, there's no personality behind the characters. I was like, because there's no thought behind them. You can feel the kind of in the moment it's scary because you're listening to the story. I was like, but when you stop to like look
Analyze.
beyond it, yeah, for
Mm.
character, they disappear. I was like,
Oh.
so you can kind of see that with it, and because there's a lot of people right now that are like taking their Chat GPT stories and then AI art, and then just putting them together on like Amazon as PDF like books, and trying to make money off of it. Like, oh, I wrote this. I was like, you didn't read it. You fed it a prompt, and then you like edited it in Word or whatever. I was like, but you're not writing a story. I was like, you're feeding it your idea of one, which is like it's like bar storytelling where you're at a bar and you're like, oh, I had this idea for a thing and it's gonna be this, this, and this, but then you don't do it. I was like, Chat GPT is just making it easier for you to do that, and then just like leave the like try to make $1 off of it when you
Mhm.
haven't done the work yet.
Yeah. No, yeah, that is very true. I know when I first started using ChatGPT, we would just use it just to like kind of fuck around, right?
Yeah,
And I,
We did create a
we would ask it, you know what, can it create stories, right? So it created the story about and we're
a
like, you know what,
water bottle and a cell phone.
yeah, a water bottle and a cell phone, where the water bottle was the villain and the cell phone was the hero, right? And because we're like, you know what, let's see how ridiculous it can get. So we're like,
yeah,
create a anime style story, where the protagonist is a cell phone and the villain is a bottle of water. So it did it. Was it the best story? It was not, but it was
I
like,
don't
okay,
watch
like it created something useful where you could definitely
yeah,
build upon it, right? Um, so I guess it I know there's a lot of people that probably use it for creativity because maybe they lack that. You know what? I have this creative thought, right? So I could see people using it for that.
yeah.
I just don't
But
know if you should monetize.
so
Yeah.
here's my thing with AI, especially like let's talk about ChatGPT. You have to understand that all AI is a amalgamation of all of these data points that previously or already exist. And what it's giving you is a combination of the things that it has learned or that it's read. It's not giving you something unique. It's really just recreating work that is already existing to what
Yeah,
you're asking it to do. Like that is the whole. That's my only 2 cents. Like when you understand that AI isn't all knowing, it can't give you something really new or unique. It can only retell the stories that it only knows, and that's where I begin. Whether it's pictures, stories, or anything like that, it can only give you reproduce things off of something that's already been done.
Yeah,
Or
like if you're using it to like generate like a photo of like Godzilla and Charizard like battling it out, cool. Like that's
that'd be
awesome.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's awesome. But then if you're taking that to, like, a convention and trying to sell prints of it, then I'm like, "Well, that's not your art." Like, you generated it, which is cool and, like, awesome, but, like, that's not yours. Like, Chat or the program owns it because they generated it, but the art style that they based it off of is a living person's that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
took. I was like, and that's where it gets weird. So, there's a guy on TikTok who wrote a book, like a comic, but it's all AI generated art. And like he's selling a lot of copies of it. So I was like, whatever, dude, like do you. But I got tagged in the comments of it, and he was just like, well, he doesn't draw his own stuff. And I was like, okay. I was like, let's do this. So then I was just like, either like you don't either, man. Like you're none of your characters have hands because it doesn't know how to do fingers.
Wow.
Yeah, or like it doesn't do faces, it'll always do
That
like
is very hard
profile.
to do. Yeah.
I that's why I don't draw because I can't do hands. Like,
Yeah, that's very hard to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just told him, I was like, yeah, but I hire artists, and he's like, well, I'm using this program as my artist, and I was like, but it's stealing other people's art and then using it as its own, and
Yeah.
like it just got kind of heavy, and I was like, I'm not gonna change your mind. Obviously, it's the internet. I was like, just do what you're gonna do, but yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I know another time, we were joking around about how, anime titles have gotten super long,
yeah,
where, it used to go from, like, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, and now it's, like, a full paragraph, right? So,
yeah,
from there, we're like, "You know what? Let's come up with the most randomest anime," and then now there's anime that is just, like, crazy random, like,
yeah,
there's one where it's like, what, like, I died and got reincarnated as a vending machine, and now I'm doomed to something about the dungeons, right? And it's like,
yeah,
bro, like, this person reincarnated as a vending machine, right? It's, like,
yeah,
crazy, like, people reincarnated into slimes and stuff, right? And they make it work.
yeah,
So, from there, we were like, "You know what? What can we come up with?" Right? Just random stuff. So, we came up with one, and once again, we got art from Canva, like, free art from Canva, or, like, we pay for the paid subscription, so we get art from
yeah,
there. And for, I think, just the protagonist, I guess you could say, we got one from, a AI generated, website. So, but for us, it was more for just the fun of it.
yeah,
Shits and
Obviously, we
giggles.
wouldn't do nothing, and we even created a whole thing because so I threw the idea out there, and I'm one of those people that, like, I just throw the ideas, and then afterwards, it gets stuck in my head, so I do it
yeah.
just to do it, and that's it, which I still have it here.
Hilarious.
Once again, because I was like, like, what is the
Yeah,
most randomest thing it could be? So I was like, you know what? And I asked Ernest, I was like, give me an object. He's like, glasses. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll come up with something with glasses, right? So I obviously I had to come up with the whole backstory, and I did the whole pitch. I was like, this has happened, and this happened, and this, and this,
yeah,
and what's it called in there? Like, once again, for these kind of stuff, I think AI stuff is awesome,
yeah,
but
For hobbies, yes.
yeah,
I think we all agree on is doing it in your hobby or just playing around completely okay. But once you start trying to monetize something that
yeah.
this AI is giving you, is where we all have an issue. Like,
yeah,
it's come on.
Yeah, because if you guys, like, took that idea and then just, like, either hired an artist, did the art yourself, and then, like, you could use the prompts or whatever to help you outline it and then wrote it, like, awesome. Like, it sounds like a hilarious idea that I would probably read. I love, like, long titles on stuff because like, I grew up with, like, pop punk, so it's always like,
okay.
"Our lawyer made to change the" yeah, like, and if it's 3 sentences, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna listen to this song." So, like, stuff like that, I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm in."
Oh
Yeah,
man, no, yeah, like, I think that's like, some of the issues with AI, and I know there's a
yeah,
lot of people that don't understand AI. They're a little bit scared of it.
yeah,
Um, it's like those. I have friends and family, right, where they're like, you know what? Which again, they don't even understand algorithms, right? Where they're like, you know what? I was talking about shoes, and all of a sudden, like on my feedback, shoes started coming up with, like I started getting advertisements for shoes. Like I started getting this, and I was like, you do know how the algorithm works, right? The algorithm works based to learn from you. Kind of, it almost makes a little digital brain of all right, this is John, right? What does John like to do? John writes comic books. What would John want to buy? And based off of what
Yeah.
you type, because of the cookies and because of you give everything permission to read your stuff, obviously it brings that in, and afterwards it could also kind of spit out information or that is advertised for you specifically. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's how it works. But people are like, no, my phone listens to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think the government has better things to do than just to listen to you 24/7, right? Like
Yeah.
if
So
if
I'm gonna jump in
somebody's
there.
getting
Here's
paid to
the thing.
listen to you,
Like I fully believe they do listen to us. However, I do understand that the data points that they collect, that all these sites are using and collecting, and our cookies and stuff like that. Like, yes, that's how they are advertising to us. But I will never discount that they're listening. They might not
Yeah.
listen to you today. They might not listen to you tomorrow. But they got and recorded everything that you said.
obviously, yes. So they have. So we live in a time where anything you do, there's a footprint, right? Like
Right.
I don't know if you guys saw that there's a guy, I don't know from where, I think he's in Europe, right? Who built this huge like software, right? Where you post a picture of yourself or whoever you want, and it'll show you cameras around the world
I think I've
that
seen
that
something
have
about
this that have they've captured you. So like
Jesus.
if I post a picture of myself, it'll be like, oh, you went to Costco, you went to here, you went to here, you went to here. And it's scary, right? Because it's all obviously it's all gets
that.
connected, and from there, that's where the data lives, right? So
Yeah,
I like how people saw that scene in Dark Knight where Batman has like the wall of things, and they're like, "This is too powerful. We should never use it." And he's like, "You're right." And then the government's like, "Or
right.
we do this for yeah,
now listen to me.
yeah,
Yeah, because I don't even know, like, so I just learned maybe last month that do you know most highways or interstates in the US have cameras? Like a lot of places have just public cameras where you can just
They
log on to
yeah
a camera and just watch cars go by.
yeah
Like in this public domain, there's a lot of cameras out here, and you can
yeah,
easily be caught and be seen, and somebody can just access a camera randomly, like, oh, I can go track down this car. You can have all of this information on people. Like it's kind of scary when we start talking about
yeah,
data points and what's really available for people to see.
yeah.
it it is. And I remember a few years ago. I want to say it was maybe I was still in high school, or maybe I had just gotten out of high school. But there was a website where you can go and you could click on IP addresses, right? And all those IP addresses would be linked to a camera that was open, that was like whether it be a
That's
security
still real cool.
camera, whether it
That's
be
real.
something, but you don't know where it's at. It just you click on the IP and it takes you somewhere, right? So back then I didn't know how can I find where the IP is, or where it's based off of, just based off of the numbers, right? So it was, I found it like, oh, super cool, and then it's like, oh, like a lot of people felt like, oh, look, you're a hacker because you're hacking into a
Yeah.
camera. Well, you're not. You're clicking a link, right? But
Yeah.
back in the day, you're a kid, you're young, you're like, oh yeah, I feel so cool, and like just
You-
looking at nothing, right? Or clicking through all the links to, like, what, something good has to come up. But that would always scare me until till today. I block all my cameras. Like on my laptop, I bought the little slits to cover them. On these cameras, once I'm done, I literally take off the camera and face it down on the desk. So if somebody logs in, all they see is just the table,
The
right?
keyboard.
I mute everything, I unplug stuff, just
yeah.
because I was like, you know what? I know it's possible, right?
Yeah.
So it is scary.
Gotta be safe.
It's scary, and I don't know. But yeah, so right before we started the podcast, I know we were talking a little bit about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Um, so just based off of the clips that you've seen, based off of the promo, um, like what are your expectations for the show? Because my expectations are it has to be better than the movie, right?
Right.
It cannot be worse than the movie. I was like,
Yeah.
please let it not be worse than the movie. So, and I seen a clip where people were like really pissed off because in the I think it was in the trailer. Some of the bending was kind of slow mo. They're like, oh, if this is how bending will be, then I don't want it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited for it. Like, I want to see it. I know people were mad about what's the name of the Earthbender, the
oh
king
yeah,
guy who
yeah,
was his buddy,
King Boomy.
uh, Boomy, yeah,
Boomy. People were like, "Oh, Boomy looks weird." I was like, "He looked weird in the cartoon. He had an old face, but like a ripped body. He looked like
balls,
yeah, he
balls
So
was
right
like,
there.
yeah, he was jacked, but
what
he looked
always
like he was
bothers
old."
me about that is like when people like when we're doing live adaptations of cartoon, you can't expect it to be accurate
They want
in that
shot for
sense.
shot reenactments. And I was like, listen, I like as long as they know how to say like "ang" and they're not like "ong" or
Right.
whatever weird way they were saying it in the movie, like
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, as long as like Sokka's funny and like I just want Toph, like just give me Toph already.
yeah,
Then
top is yeah.
yeah, and then I'm good. Like I don't need to see everything shot for shot because I already saw it like a bunch of
Mhm.
times. Like I just give me the story, do it a little bit different so that way I'm like still interested in it. But like just as long as the characters are still the same and then like Uncle Iroh's not like a jerk for no reason, like don't change that kind of stuff.
Oh
Just
no,
like yeah, keep the
You gotta
characters
keep
real.
the elements.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I want.
So, I completely agree with that, and that's what I feel about the One Piece anime adaptation for Netflix. While in its essence, it is the same series, they're going about it a completely different way,
Yeah.
and I can appreciate that. Like, yes, there are things that they stuck to, which are key points and concepts, but there's also major things that they're changed, and I'm here for it. It's the same story, complete being retold in a different way, and that's all I can ask is give me something fresh. I
Yeah.
like it. I like the casting. I like what they've done so far. I don't mind about the small changes. It's just keep it fresh.
right,
Yeah. Did you guys
yeah,
see
and
the Scout Pilgrim cartoon that came out?
yes, I did.
I didn't finish it, but I seen most of the episodes.
Yeah, I like how they changed it up. Like because I
Yeah,
thought it
they
was
did.
just gonna be the movie, and then like after the first episode, I was like, "What are we doing?" I was
Right?
like,
Yeah, I was like,
"Yeah,
wait, Scott Pilgrim dies? Like what? Like
yeah,
what? The movie is very. I even have the books, right? The Scott Pilgrim
yeah,
books. I was like, that this is not what happens in the
yeah,
But then you get
yeah,
but
into it, like, you know what?
yeah,
yeah,
Okay, I
yeah,
see where you're going with this.
yeah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "You gave us something new, and it was by like the original writer and stuff." I was like, "I can appreciate this for what it is and all that."
it,
And
it
that's
was
the
good.
whole
Yeah.
that key statement is appreciating it for what it is. You can't
Hmm.
Yeah,
don't like you can't keep comparing it to the original source or the source. It's on its if is of its own right. It stands on its own 2 legs or 4 legs, however many you want to
yeah,
give it. But it just stands on its own. You can't continually compare it. It is great for what it is.
No, as long as it makes sense,
yeah,
it actually you could tell like what kind of story it is and it's based off of. For example, just like and the reason why I say that is just not another Dragon Ball Revolution because that movie had nothing to do with Dragon
no,
Ball. So I was like, what? Like, yeah, you had the characters named, like stuff like that, but that's about it. I was like, wow, this movie is really bad, right? So I was like,
yeah. I remember
Yeah.
watching that and being like, "Piccolo's the bad guy?" Because I remember Piccolo in like Dragon Ball was like the bad guy for like an arc or whatever, but I was
Yeah,
like, they kind of team up pretty quick after that.
yeah.
And in
Yeah.
this, it was just like he was like the master villain. I was like, no, well, that's yeah. I was like that. I don't know how this is gonna work, and then it didn't work.
No,
Yeah, but
it,
somebody
it-
saw that and was like, these guys need to be on a show called Shameless that's gonna run for like 10 years.
which was Shameless was an amazing show, right? And
Yeah,
based in Chicago, you know, like,
yeah.
but
I've been to that house.
oh yeah,
Yeah, because it's right by my, grandma's house, so I, like,
oh okay.
sneak by there, I drive by, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome," and then I just keep rolling.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, you could always sign up to be an extra for one of the seasons, right? Well, obviously when it was still filming.
Well, I wanna be on the bear, like, that's, like, my goal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Actually, I
Like,
would
I'm gonna
love to be in the bear.
yeah, because one of my buddies works on the set, so I just told him, I was like, "Just tell me where you're gonna be, and I'll just be ready." And then maybe I, like, drop some comics on the floor, and then somebody sees it and picks it up and makes it, like, I don't know. And he
Yeah.
was like, "You
There you
can't
go.
do that." And I was like, I was like, "I don't know how they got there, but I'll just show up." Like,
Like oh,
I'll do the Chicago accent if they want me to, like, I can do it. Like, sausage, ma, I can do it.
nah.
Ma.
I really thoroughly enjoyed the bear. Like,
It was
well,
so
I during
good.
the what is it? The first 2 seasons? It's 2 seasons. Then
Yeah,
they so the first season, phenomenal. The second season, it started losing me because I feel like they got away from the cooking and more so into the drama.
yeah.
Like they got away from the restaurant and what it really was, and then more into the drama. And I don't think I haven't really gotten to the third season yet.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good. It's just like that second season was more about like each person's individual story, and I was like, all right. And then like the last episode kind of brings everyone together, which I liked. But like I used to work in a kitchen, so that show gives me PTSD. Like every time they start screaming, I was like, here we go. And then they were chain smoking on that show, and I'm
Yes,
just like,
so
yeah,
much.
that's the most real thing. It was just like me and three, like I was like 16 working like full time in a kitchen, so I shouldn't have been there. But it was like me and like three just angry like Mexican guys outside just chain smoking together and like just cursing at everybody, pissed off. And then they would hit on like the waitresses and stuff that were my age.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, your wife dropped you off, man. Like, what are you doing? Kitchens are a
Yeah.
gross place. Yeah. But I'm like,
Oh, they
that
are.
show is
Yeah.
so real.
Yeah. Like my
But that's
brother worked at a pizza
like, when
place.
you can see a show that you can relate to on that level, that gives you like, it is real. And so I've worked in kitchens and I've enjoyed it. Like, I do get anxiety when you hear the machine going or you hit chef and he start yelling out orders and stuff like it's you get
You start
anxiety. I
cooking.
got it. My bad. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
You run to the kitchen, grab a pan. I'm on it. I'm on it.
I love cooking. So, like, after that show, for the next like month, I was like making every meal when I got home. I would just tell my wife like what to go get. And then
Mhm.
I learned how to make like stir fry in a week because I was like, all right, I'm gonna learn. Like, I'm making it tomorrow. I'm gonna make like a whole TikTok thing about it. But like, I already prepped my rice today. I made it so that way it's dry. I got all my
Okay.
ingredients laid out for tomorrow. Like, I'm good to go. But I was making like Cubans, like Cubanos and stuff and
Ooh.
steak sandwiches. So for like a week, it was just like nothing but carbs and meat. It was just like the most unhealthy week of my life. It was like just the movie Chef on repeat in my kitchen. Like alcohol was flowing, there was music. My son's all confused on what I'm doing, and I was like, "No, no, Ben, you got to cut like this." Yeah,
No, yeah. It does happen. I know for me, I watching Hell's Kitchen. Um, it was the reason why I went away from ordering my meat well done to
yeah,
medium or medium rare
What is
because
this? Come on.
yeah, because I would see Gordon Ramsay get so pissed off, like,
yeah.
you've overcooked it. It's medium or medium rare." And I was like, "Oh crap." I'm like, I don't want to meet Gordon Ramsay one day in my head, right? And then he sees I'm eating a well cooked steak, or he's like, he will curse me out. So I was like, you know what? No, and I tried it and I was like, damn, I've been eating meat wrong this whole time because it is more flavorful. I was like, you know what? Gordon Ramsay had a point. He
Yeah.
the man had a vision. I should have known, like he knows more about this than I do. I should have just gone with what he wanted or what he said, right?
Just coat it top, bottom, side, salt, pepper, whatever you want to add. Done. Throw it on a plate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little
That's
less than I like, and I would admit I cannot do medium rare. I will do medium, but anything under that, that's pushing the line. I don't want my meat to still move or make a noise when I bite into it.
It
well,
twitches a little as you cut it.
Yeah,
well.
I say
I
that, but
know.
then at the same time, I still want to go to Japan and try live octopus. Like just oil them up and throw them. Like I still want to have the experience,
I don't know
some
about live.
cultural experiences, but there's a line
I,
somewhere in there.
It's true.
if it still could move, I don't know, man. Like, I know with Ernest, we went to we went to a what was it, a Japanese steakhouse?
Yeah, Hulu. You
Yeah,
talking about
Hulu.
Hulu?
Which it is not the service, it's not the movie service or TV series, like it's not Hulu, the
Uh,
channel, whatever. It's There's a restaurant called Hulu, and it's here in Chicago, and they got a little Japanese market next to it and everything, right? And it's pretty cool. And so we went, and when we got there, they asked everybody. They asked me, Ernest, and my daughter. They're like, "All right, how do you guys will want your meat?" So they asked me first, and I was like, "Oh, medium well, right?" And then Ernest like, "Oh, medium," and my dad was like, "Oh, medium," and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I take that back. I want medium." And from there, like even the host was like, no, they were just joking on me. They're like, no, it's fine. We'll do medium well for you, King. This I'm like, nah, come on, man, stop. Just I just spent the first thing. I didn't know everybody was gonna go with medium. Like it's easier if we all just do the same. I don't care if it's medium or medium well, either or. Um, but yeah, like when it
There's a
comes
place
to
called
meat, yeah,
there's a place called Mitsuwa. It's in like Arlington Heights, maybe. It's like north, but it's a Japanese market. But there's like 10 different restaurants inside of it looks like a mini mall, but it's
yes, yeah,
yeah.
I've been
And
there.
so I
Yes,
went
yeah,
there and I ordered the ramen, and then they were just like, "Oh, do you want an extra egg?" And I was like, "I guess." And they were like a fucking that big, like the duck
yeah.
eggs, like the huge ones. And I was like, "How do I eat this?" So I'm like looking around, and it's like guys that are like hunched over their bowls that know what they're doing, or like girls taking pictures like with the thing and stuff. I was like, "Someone eat normal so I know what I'm doing." Because I didn't like there was something in there that was on top. It's like a fish patty, but it's like circular and it's got the spiral shape. I didn't know what it was. So I was like, is this like in my head? I'm like, oh, this is like an onion because it looked like a cebolla. I was like, okay, I know what this is gonna taste like, and I bit it, and I was like, no, they lied to me again.
Well,
And then
that's a
they're like, it's extra spicy, and I was like, I can handle heat. And then I started drinking the broth, and I was like, oh
mhm.
shit. I was like, I'm in trouble.
No, yeah, yeah. Which I do that mistake very often. Like I order from two specific Chinese places, right? And I've ordered so much from them that every time I ask for combination fried rice, I'll be like extra extra spicy, and they take that extra extra spicy to the heart, where like I'm eating it and I'm just like sweating, and I'm just like I like I'm I'm as I'm eating it, I'm just like, I hate myself for eating it, right? So I always
but
add
you
sweet
do
and
it
sour sauce,
every time.
but I'll finish it. I'll finish it, and like my stomach will be crap for like a week.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I end up with a headache. I end up with like the back of my head's hurting. My For some reason my back is hurting. It's just a lot, but I still eat it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it goes with spicy food, and yeah. But going back to series, uh, so for you, John, if somebody was to tell you like, hey, we want to pick up one of your comics, we want to create either a movie or a TV show, One, and I think we talked about it last time, but I like the answer might change, right? Would you want it to be a movie? Would you want it to be a TV series? And which book would you want for to be the first one?
So I think a good first one would probably be Americana because it's definitely paced like a movie already. Like it's got different point of views. It's got like a lot of character emotion in it already, like out of the gate. So I think that would be the one that if somebody's like, which one of these could we make? I would hand them that one and let them run with it.
Mm,
Yeah.
it sounds like it would be a FX show
Yeah, like I like what they're doing with Fargo and all
or
that stuff.
AMC.
Like, yeah, I like how they're like making these movies into like these series things, and it's kind of like an anthology.
Hmm.
Like I'm really excited to watch the newest season of True Detective because the
Oh, okay.
director, I brought her up last time. She was the one that I said would direct Lockjaw if I could pick somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did the newest season of True Detective. Like she's the showrunner for
Oh,
it. So I'm like hype, but I wanted all of it to come out so I could just binge it. But
binge
I've
it.
been
Yeah.
talking to her on like Twitter and stuff because I followed her like really early on. So she hasn't realized like I'm just like a fan in like her wheel of people that she like responds to. I was like, yes. Yeah. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
I'm excited for that.
That'd be pretty cool. Like, I honestly, I think a lot of the books that you write, they could easily do that transition. Um, what's it called, from from book to TV series? Which honestly, for me, I prefer when comic books sometimes are more TV series versus movies
Yeah.
because it's more better paced. You're able to add more stuff on there versus a movie where either you make like a 6-hour movie, like what's it called? Zack Snyder tried doing with Justice League, or
Yeah.
you end up cut it like into 2 hours or 3 hours, and then afterwards piss off with like a whole
Ugh.
group of people because it's
Culture.
like, oh, like, yeah, which I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people that was like, wow, this is what you came up with, but they're like, oh, you gotta watch a 6 hour long movie. I was like, oh crap, come on. I'm like,
I
I'll
watched
watch it
it.
in parts.
Yeah. No, I did the whole thing through and I was like, this is just long. Like every time something went into slow motion, it would just be like Cyborg reaching for a door and it would like rain dropping in slow motion behind him as he's like pulling it open. I was like, this doesn't need to be slow motion. I was like, just put him inside. It's fine. Or like everything, like Batman would do a kick and then the guy would fall super dramatic. I was like, we saw 300. We get it. Like you like this. It's But I was like 6 hou did you guys watch his zombie movie on
uh,
Netflix?
yeah, is that the one, what's it called? Army of the Dead or something like that?
Yeah, it's like, Dave,
Dave
Bautista.
Batista?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely seen that one. Yeah, it got
yeah, because
weird.
it got real weird because like, somebody would shot in the head, I was like, "Was that a robot?" And then, like, in the background, something fly by, I'm like, "UFOs?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "What are we doing?" And then, like, the focus would be, like, right here on somebody's eye, and then everything else is, like, blown out. And I'm just like, the guy's not, like, signaling me with his eyes. I don't know what we're talking about right now." A and, like, every time I watched it, like, cause I watched it once just to watch it, and then my buddy's like, "You missed the point of it. Watch it again." And I was like, "I don't think I did." Then I watched it again. I was like, "I really didn't." I was like, "I really didn't miss it." I was like, "This could have just been a simple story about a heist gone wrong with zombies, and I would have loved it." It could have been so because he did zombies. He did the, Dawn of the Dead remake. That was him,
Yeah.
and it was great.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
like, "How did you miss the mark this bad?" Because he just took every idea. He was like, "Zombie tiger, zombie cowgirls, robots, aliens," and nobody at Netflix was like, "Pick one." Like, just
Right?
tell 'em to pick one.
Just pick
Yeah.
one.
And then at the end of it, they were just like, "Sequel?" question mark. I was like, "I don't want it." And then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do a prequel about"
Prequel, yeah.
yeah, the guy that does the lock. I was like, "I didn't care about him then." Like, yeah, I was like, "Oh my god." And then I watched that stupid Rebel Moon thing.
So
Oh,
first off, we had a whole podcast about what are.
Oh, did you?
Can you give us your thoughts on Rebel Moon, like complete
wait,
first to
wait, wait,
straight
wait. I got it. I got it.
There you go.
hit? We did a
Yeah,
bruise and what are your thoughts on Rebel Moon?
my god. That is what happens when there's no, like, leash on a person to be like, "Hey, stop." Like, one idea and do it. Because like, the whole time I was waiting for jokes, like, "Okay, we got a crew together." I was like, "One of them's gotta be funny. One of them's gotta be serious. One's gonna be, like, the quiet guy who's, like, a secret killer." I was thinking, like, Magnificent Seven the
Yeah.
entire
Okay.
time. I was like, because I love that movie. I was like, "Okay, cool. It's gonna be Magnificent Seven in space, Star Wars themed." I got it. I was like, "There's the Empire. There's the Emperor guy. Why is that robot running into the, like, field?" Okay. I was like, "That's fine." And then, like, there's like, "Oh, there's this girl with, like, a bucket of water or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, she's friends with the robot. I got it." And then the robot just fucking abandons her. I was
Yeah.
waiting for, like, the robot to, like, kick into gear. I was like, "Sure." And then, like, right away, everyone just kinda joined them, but they didn't help them. Like, the guy breaking the animal, I was like, "Okay, I
Hmm.
Yeah.
saw Harry Potter ride a hippogriff. I get it." And then, like, the fat guy being like, "Oh, you broke him, so now I can follow like, grab his leash?" I was like, "Feed the bird or something." And then when he kills him, I was like, "Yeah, I got it." And then, like, even the lady with the spider, like, there's a child in danger. There's a spider
That's
monster and
so
the lady
that's
with 2 swords.
exactly what
I
I
was like,
said.
"Someone
Yeah.
help her." I was waiting for,
Nobody.
like, somebody, and then the whole time I was like, "No one here is friends. Why are we helping
Uh-uh.
each other?"
Yeah.
And and then, like, the rebellion, I wanted the rebellion to be bigger because I was like, "Okay, well, like, if these guys are space Nazis, we need, like, a rebel force that's gonna kick ass." And it's just like a brother or sister and, like, 6 neighborhood friends.
Yeah.
And, like, half of them leave to join them, and all she did was give, like, one speech about, like, "The enemy is bad. The bad guys are here. We need to stop the bad guys." And the sister's like, "Not yet." And the guy was like, "I'm gonna go." And then they just, like, final act. And but then at the final act, it's the most Zack Snyder cut because, like, it would be like a shot of a box in slow motion, and then I see a key character dying behind it. And I was like, "He got shot?" I was like, "You're shooting this wrong." And, like, I was
Oh,
getting really frustrated, and then I paused it to do something, and when I came back, I saw how much time I had left. I was like, "15 minutes is not enough time to wrap this up." And then, like, the whole last 15 minutes is just undoing everything that this movie did, because 'cause they're like, "Oh, this guy that we said wasn't important, and that's why we sent him on this mission. Well, he's important enough to resurrect and waste Johnny's time again."
it, so with that movie, right? Like that was one of my first things when I was like, you know what? You got one lady fighting a spider.
Yeah.
There's a child. Everybody's just like, no, we're not gonna join in help, even though there's a kid in danger, and we're also not gonna care if the kid dies, right? Because they're just standing there. All of them. There's a group of them, right?
Yeah.
And then you get like the most supposedly like the most scared person or whatever, the most regular normal person. He's the one that just jumps, runs in, and that's supposed to build his character.
Yeah.
I was like, if anything, it talks more about the other people than his character, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I see what they tried doing. They tried doing from Captain America. I don't know if you guys remember the clip where they take out a grenade and they throw in the
And he
field
jumps on it.
and he jumps on it, right?
Yeah.
So they tried doing something like that to establish
Yeah.
his character, but it just made everybody look bad.
I
Everybody.
don't
It's
know
like
any character's name, and I watched that movie twice
I
because
forgot all the characters' name.
nobody
I'm
mattered
sorry
in
that
that
you
movie.
watched that movie twice. I watched it once and then I immediately went into our group chat and I cursed out Miguel because he asked us to watch this. for this bruise and reviews. I'm like, I demanded my time back. I demand
They're
you got
doing
to pay
a
me in 2 hours of
They're
something
doing a
because
sequel,
I did
yeah.
not sit here and watch
well,
this
no, they're
movie.
doing a Snyder cut of it. They're doing like a 3 hour, 4 hour cut of the first movie before the second one comes out.
Wow.
And
It's screw
I'm like, who's asking for more slow motion? Well, the biggest problem I had, I knew I wasn't gonna like it out of the gate because, like, you see the girl plowing. So old school plow, there's like a horse monster thing. I get it. But behind her is a planet that's like this close to them. I'm like, that's not how gravity works. If you can touch it, it's too close. Like, at no point, if you shoot me and the moon together in a shot, should the moon be right here. If it is, I'm dead. I'm floating in space.
Right.
And the whole time I'm looking at it, I was like, I know important things are happening right now because like the girl's talking to this guy who I should probably know his name, but like the moon is just like their Jupiter is like right behind him with like the rings. I was like, this is very pretty, but this is also it feels like a guy was like, we're gonna do Star Wars but bigger. They're like, so everything is just bigger. They're like, yeah, we're gonna put the Sons of Tatooine over this guy's shoulder, and then they're never gonna leave. And then like that village, they're just like you think they would be better about being sneaky because the whole time they're living under like this whole guise of like what's going on. And at
Mhm.
the first sign of pressure, they're all like, "We did it," and then they run off. I'm just like, oh, "Okay, guys." Like,
my
and
It's
that's
one
the
of
town we got to
my
protect.
biggest downfalls, or one of my biggest problems with the movie was the fact that the whole hero group is like everybody's been doing their own thing for years, and then all of a sudden, this person that you don't know
Yeah,
walks up to you, and you're ready to go with them for like fuck everything I've been doing, fuck the life that I've been setting up, that I've been running from this government for
yeah,
years. How I'm gonna trust this person that I don't know, and then immediately, as soon as we all get together, the next scene is we all get trapped because we didn't
yeah,
know each other. It's like
yeah. Six
yeah.
lone wolves don't work in a story. That's not how it like. And none of them had personalities. Like I liked
none.
Charlie
No, there
Hunnam.
was no character development, no person. There
No,
was no reason for you to like anybody.
yeah, at all.
I
And then
still
like
can't even
one
tell you the
guy,
main girl's story. I don't even know why she was the main character.
I don't know, like, oh, she was a bad guy turned good or
Yeah.
like runaway who was living in this quiet village and nobody knew her story. But 10 minutes after a disaster, she was like, who wants to hear 40 minutes of exposition? Because I'm ready to go.
It just didn't make sense.
No, and they're like, we got 6 of these movies for you guys. I'm like, I just wanted one good one. Like, and they're like, we're doing comics, we're doing movies, we're gonna do audiobooks. I'm like, just do one and do it well. Like, that's it. I get it. There was a good government, then space Nazis, and one girl's gonna save them all. And one robot. Like, they didn't even go back to try to remake robots at all. They're just like, well,
No.
robots got too
Yeah.
strong, so we're done. I'm just like, turn down the robots then, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I was here, like I remember I was watching, right, and I was like, first of all, they got Anthony Hopkins voicing the robot, right? I was like, that's a pretty old voice for a robot, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, cool. And the robots, he's there. He makes supposedly one big decision of like he's gonna stand up against the government, and then he just disappears,
Yeah.
and you don't see him until the end of the movie with flowers, or with,
He
what was it? Was
fully
it with horns or something like
the
that?
It was
horns,
like
the
a
wooden
crown
The
horns.
or
horns,
something.
the
Yeah.
Yeah.
crown, the horns. Yeah,
So he went off and like saved like a tribal village from like 2 bad guys or something. And then they named him a hero. And now he's gonna come back loving people. And but we're not gonna see him in the second movie, I guarantee it, till the point where the heroes are totally screwed. And then he's gonna come in like Zack Snyder slow motion, like through a wall or something, with the horn still perfectly in place. But we'll get his story in like a 7-part comic. and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
I don't want to read it, but now I have to because like, where did he get the horns? Like, I'm gonna hate watch all of these and just keep. It was one of those things. Like, I watched it and I felt better about myself. I was like, all right, cool. This movie came out. Not a lot of people liked it, so I know I can keep writing because I could write better than that. Like I fucking know it. I was just like, Jesus Christ. And because I guess like his Star Wars pitch got rejected. And I was like, I can
Yeah.
only imagine how long it would take for a lightsaber to ignite. Cause like the rain would have to fall, then it would like light up, but it would go like here real slow. And the focus would only be on the hilt as it like the blade goes up. Every swing takes 4 minutes.
We back in the original Dragon Ball Z where a
Yeah.
30-minute fight took 2 years to tell.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
Saiyan saga thing or the Ginyu
Yeah.
Force took
Yeah. Good
forever.
force. Yeah. Yeah. That was a very long saga right there.
Yeah.
I remember, and especially like when you would watch it, it's like it gets to a certain episode, and I guess they catch up, so they couldn't dub it, so they would
Yeah.
start off from the beginning again, and then you would have to wait until you like get to that part to continue the new story or like what you haven't seen. So yeah, ah,
God.
man, those
Yeah.
those were the days, right?
I
But
told, but just on the last note on this is, I feel like speaking about that is one thing animation and anime get away with a lot is the fact that you got a 30-minute segment, but I can guarantee you they're gonna have 2 to 3 minutes of intro and then about 5 minutes of going back and retelling the story
Yeah.
from the last episode so that you really only get about 10 to 15 minutes of animation. I would even say 11 minutes because they still have to have the outro and the credits going at the end.
I wrote a comic called Till Death Do We Part, and I wrote it because I was watching a lot of anime and I was just getting angry the entire time because I would watch My Hero and he kept saying like he kept talking about All Might and like how he was gonna be the best. And I had
Yeah.
just come off like Naruto and Naruto telling me the same thing. And like One Piece, like I'm gonna be king of the pirates. So I was like, okay, I get it. Like in Shonen, you gotta yell your cause. So I wanted to write like a comic, but where the character was kind of the worst, but like very inspired by like anime. So like that whole book is just like my making fun of like certain anime tropes and just like it's hilariously inappropriate and like horror filled and stuff because they like fight these demonic things and then like I keep making fun of fan service in it where the girl is just like yeah you like those anime things and they're always just girls like falling over their skirts get blown up or something but she's fighting in like a skirt and then when she
yeah,
gets hit it's like the boobs are in the air and then
yeah,
he was like but do you not see what's happening here yeah so, like, it made fun of the tropes of it while still acknowledging, like, that's what we grew up with, that's how we got into a lot of the nerdy things we got into was because of anime.
yeah,
But, like, every
Absolutely.
time I would watch a fight on, like, My Hero especially, it would be, like, 30 seconds of cool fight sequence, 2 minutes of the like, an inspirational speech about how we got this no matter what. The character that you didn't think was important, it's like they'll introduce, like, a character who's like, "My quirk is, like, I can turn cell phones into carrots," and then they're gonna be like, well, why is that important? He's like, it's not. Go into like 2 minutes of tragic backstory about turning everyone's cell phone into a carrot. And then it turns out that the bad guys are talking on old Nokias. And then in 1 second, he turns them all into carrots. And then one guy's like allergic to carrots, so it kills him instantly. But then now the bad guys can't talk, and then All Might can punch them because now they can't coordinate. I was just like, Jesus Christ. I was like, this is 3 episodes. I was like, I have a child. I don't have time for this. And then I'll text my cousin. I was like, carrots? Exclamation marks. And he was like, great stuff though. I was like, oh my God.
No substance.
Yeah. But then I'll watch like all of Chainsaw Man and be like, that was really bloody. and super horny. Like, God.
Yes, yes, it was.
Yeah, because like I didn't know. So like I made sure like my kid was asleep. Like I was like, all right, this is gonna be scary. I gotta watch this by myself. I watched it. I was like, yeah, that was gross. And then like his whole purpose is like instead of being king of the pirates, gonna have the best quirk, whatever. It's just like I'm gonna touch boobs.
Oops,
Yeah,
yes,
And
that's
I was
it.
like, I was like, that's not gonna carry this whole series, and it is so far because I'm not done yet. And I was like, I feel a lot better about my horny comic. Like, eh, he's got a purpose other than touching boobs. But I still gotta finish it because I gotta know if he does or not. Like,
I mean, it's a simple concept, but I definitely enjoy Chainsaw Man. Like
yeah,
it's a
it's cool,
refreshing. Like okay, you don't have to aim, so I don't have to be king of the pirates. I don't have to be
right?
Hokage. I just want some sex. Like matter of fact, I
Yeah,
don't even want it. So I just want to get the first base.
yeah,
Just let me get the
and
first
that's
base,
it.
and we cool.
And it's gonna
True
carry them
pure
for
intention.
13 seasons.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, but I guess I guess we could go ahead and move forward though. Um,
Yeah,
which we could jump back to the point. You said you had a lot of conventions that you're getting ready to attend. So let's go ahead and talk about what your convention season looks like and how you're getting prepped. Um,
yeah.
what do you want to do, and go from there.
So I have a Barrington Libraries having like a fandom fest this weekend. So it's like free to the public, but it's some other comic creators are going to be there. One of my buddies built like a life-size Dalek from Doctor Who. So like he's going to
mm,
have that there. He makes a lot of cool props, so he's going to be teaching like a class. But I have that one. I have Days of the Dead in March, which is like a horror convention. We did it
yes,
last year
yeah.
in November, and we did pretty good at that show. So we're going again this year. And then we have there's like a toy show in Romeoville. It's like a 2-day one, but like Jake the
Hmm.
Snake's supposed to be there, or like some
Okay,
wrestler.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yeah.
yeah. So I got a table there. So I was like, all right, that show's just gonna be me selling Lucha forever. Like, all right, I know it. So now a cool thing we started doing is like, because the library show is gonna be more kids than anything. So I'm gonna we have like 4 kids titles now. Those will be in the front. So we're starting to like maneuver our tables to like what I suspect the audience is gonna be into, and then kind of going from there. So, and then we have since I talked to you guys last, like 8 new books out,
Well,
and then like new series, and then one brand new one coming out in like a month, and it's like a Dungeons and Dragons meets Tron. It's a family, so like it's a family with 6 siblings, and they get sucked into a D&D module where the brother that plays D&D is like afraid to let the game progress because he knows if it goes forward, it's going to get harder. So let's stay
Yeah.
in level 1. We fight a bunch of goblins trying to rob a cart, and then every night we go home safe. The little sister is like, screw this, and she messes up the game and finds like a map that they're not supposed to open. Because the whole time he's like, that's a trap, don't open it. And one day, because she's tired of reliving the same day, she opens it. And now they're fighting like this giant fire elemental. And the brother's like, what did you do? And now the game has to progress to the next part of it. So now they have no choice because the whole time they're waiting for someone to save them because it's not just them that get sucked in, it's a whole school. So I'm playing with like the
Oh,
Breakfast Club stereotypes of like the jocks are all barbarians because they all got into the game and they're like, we're jacked, we got hammers, we're going to do this. And like the preppy kids, it's just like a row of wizards with no blunt force. So the moment the goblins get close, they're glass cannons. So like
so
playing with like stuff like just a bunch of tropes and all that, but like that one's called Familiar Dungeons because it's about family and it's about like birth order. So like there's an older sister and it's like my family because I have 7 siblings. So I just took
cool.
them. Yeah, I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers and then me. And it's like one older sister, me, and then everybody else. And I'm like the nerdiest one because one of my brothers like a minor league soccer player. Another one's like super into fashion, like my brother. And then like all my sisters are like mean as hell. Like they're super strict, but they're like all the stereotypes that there are about like Latina women. It's all
Huh.
of them, like, all of them. They got it. But my little sister just had a baby, and
Okay.
she just turned 20, so, like, all of that anxiety and fear went into that book. So, we're gonna have that book coming out in time for C2E2. So, I'm excited for
Nice.
that. Yeah, and then we
Nice.
I'm
have,
really
like
Nice.
definitely like that.
yeah, and then we
Yeah.
got, like, Fan Expo and stuff at the end of the year, so I got a lot of shows this year, so it's gonna be exciting.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm always surprised by the books that you come up with because it's like like I remember like when like I first heard of your comics. It was Lockjaw, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like that's cool. Like I've never seen a comic like that. But afterwards, when I saw Lucha, like for example, Lucha Forever, I was like, I did not expect that. From
Yeah.
Lockjaw to that, and then it's like Cinema Muerte, and it's like, wait, oh crap! Like that's just a big jump, right? And then like like the jumps keep going and going, which is good, right? Because it's fresh, it's very different. Like it.
Yeah.
I'm just always surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very
So
surprised.
I like writing about different aspects of my life in, like, all of them. So, like, Lucha Forever was, like, my fear of doing something creative because I have a family and they're depending on me, and if this fails, everything fails. Lockjaw is, like, friendship because like, it starts off with him and his group, but it's, like, purpose and dedication versus missing the life around you. Cinema Muerte is about, like, doing creative stuff with your friends and still being able to enjoy the life that you wanna live while pursuing your stuff. So, like, each one of them has, like, me in it in those regards. My weirdest one is a new one that's gonna be coming out called Glass Passenger, and it's about a guy who, like, goes to his, like, psychiatrist. When he walks out of there, he starts to see, like, puppets everywhere, but
Oh,
they're like Muppet puppets, like, they have, like, the mouths that move and stuff. But, like, one of them acts like it's been his roommate for forever. It's like his best friend is now a puppet, and it's just them going about their life, but, like, he's still trying to get the girl, trying to get a promotion, all these, like, real life things. It's him and his like, the show Ted or Wilfred, if you've ever seen those,
mhm.
where it's, like, a guy and then, like, a weird animal companion.
Yeah.
But, this thing really starts to get into, like, fear and anxiety because he starts to realize more and more throughout the issues that there's a hand under the puppet, and then when he looks too far down, it's just a black ball that looks like a scribble with teeth and eyes, like a sleep paralysis
Okay.
demon.
Yeah.
So then it's
Oh.
like if but then, like, the whole time that he's doing it and he's getting madder at the puppet's like, "Hey, like, my eyes are up here, don't look too far down." But the more he does it, and then it turns into, like, a full-fledged horror story because now that thing is aware of him, so he can't exist in a comfortable space anymore because now he can see the monster under everyone's puppets.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But I was
Yeah.
like, they get weirder as they go.
Yeah. Like again, I'm always just very surprised by the different jumps and different concepts that you could come up with.
Yeah.
Amazing content, and obviously, like we're all, like these are books that we highly uh
Recommend.
advise for people to pick up. Yes, thank you. Recommend. See, I went with advice because for some reason I forgot the word recommend. But yeah, these are like any book that you put out, like we highly recommend them. So for anybody that's listening, definitely go out to Aviña.com, purchase as many books as you can. Trust me, you will enjoy them. You will read through them. Like I've read through like the ones that I have. I still got put out orders for like the new ones that you and I know you came up with new ones. Like I seen them on social media.
Yeah.
Which again, everybody go follow John on Instagram, on TikTok. Like I follow your content on Instagram, follow your content on TikTok. Um, and once again, definitely go buy the books. If you can make it to any of the cons, definitely go meet John. Amazing guy. Like we cannot say more praise about you, John, and the work
Thank you.
you've
They
you've
say
done so
he's
far.
great.
I
Especially
appreciate it.
the fact that I asked for something and it was delivered, I was like, the giant size. I was like, yes,
Yeah, we made a
So,
cutout of that. We made like these like plastic table display guys of the
oh,
characters.
okay,
So we have a Humana one. So if you make it to a show, I'll have one set aside for you. Tell me which one you can go to, and we'll have
all
it.
right, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know because yes. Well, John, it was a pleasure. Once again, where can people find your work, and where can people follow you on social media? And what could they expect? What new books could they expect from you?
So we have issue 2 of Till Death Do We Part. That's like that anime one. So each issue is gonna follow the like issue 1 will follow the main character, Pedro Panteon. He's our lead guy. So issue 1 is gonna follow him. Issue 1.5 is gonna follow his love interest. So it's a romantic horror story. So it goes like guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, girl from each perspective. So that way you
Mm.
can really feel the relationship grow and where it starts to fall apart.
Oh, nice,
Um, but you can follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, venacomics.com. We have a Patreon where you can go to as well, to just kind of like get one-on-ones if you guys want to talk to me about stuff. Otherwise, I respond in comments all the time too. So I'm everywhere.
nice. And you could always go find out how to make fried rice if you follow John on TikTok.
Tomorrow, I'm going to go live.
Yeah.
We're going to make fried rice. You're going to hear me yell
See,
at my wife like, Chef, move.
behind,
Just
behind.
ashing cigarettes into my fried rice as I go.
Uh, well, it was a pleasure, John. And as always, any
Definitely.
you're always invited to jump on an episode here. This is your second home, and we look forward to hearing more and more every time every time we talk to you, hearing more and more books that come out. And we wish you all the success. And
Absolutely.
we can't
Thank you.
wait to see you one day on Netflix.
Rebel Moon 3, I'm going to direct it.
All right. It was
Uh,
said here first.
All right. Well, thank you, John. Thank you for joining. And for everybody else listening, make sure you follow John on all social media. Follow us on all social media as well. And yeah, if you get a chance, definitely go to one of the conventions.
Absolutely.
Thank
Peace,
you.
All right.
love, and happiness.
All right. Adios, everyone.